So you're trying to move from Power BI to Fabric. In general, if you were in Power BI Premium and now you're in Fabric, you're trying to figure out how best to utilize it. So the simplest way you can think about is, in general, our Power BI architecture before Fabric in Power BI Premium was either you have your semantic model connecting to all your data sources, and then you are taking it right from there. Or if you were good enough to stage the data and things like that, your only option was to stage the data in Power BI data flows in one workspace from coming in from your source and then getting to your semantic model, right? And we knew the pain, right? So essentially the data did not scale in the sense that to create access, we would have to create individual workspaces. We could not create row level security. We could not do the separation. It only worked from Power BI or Excel. Now you actually have a lot of option in Fabric. Can you stick to your old architecture? Yes, you can. However, now the new powers that you have, I would suggest using the new power of Lakehouses, Dataflow, Gen 2, and all that stuff. So how do you get started? What I wanted to talk about is essentially going through at 3 stages. So the first thing to get started, what we'll do is we're going to create a lakehouse. Actually, no, we're going to create 2 lakehouses. We're going to create a lakehouse called curated, and we're going to create a lakehouse called raw. I'm going to start slow because I don't want to go to the intermedallion, but I want to explain soon enough what we want to do. To go ahead and get started today, what we're going to do is we're going to take the data flow staging that we used to have before, and we're going to use a Dataflow Gen 2 to load the data from Dataflow straight into the raw lakehouse. And on top of that, we're going to use a visual query, or if you're good with SQL, you can go ahead and write the SQL to create views into your curated enterprise data warehouse layer. And from there, we'll connect the semantic model so that our semantic model can get the data from here. Now we're going to orchestrate this entire thing using a pipeline so that this data flow happens. Why am I making it complicated? Because I want to go ahead and get started today. I don't want to go figure out every single data flow right off the bat. The second stage, when we got that working, it's working and whatnot, we are going to take the data flow workspace that we were here before. We will replace that, and we're going to create Dataflow Gen 2 that essentially gets the data from the source directly. When we do that, we have 2 options. So either we go the full medallion architecture or just use however we have had it. So let's start with a simple approach. What we will do is we're going to bring the data using Dataflow Gen 2. Literally just copy paste your Power Query. Destination, we're going to pick Lakehouse, and from the Lakehouse we're going to replace the views that we have created for the semantic model before that was coming from the EDW layer. Just by doing that, you now already start to get the benefit of having 2 lakehouses, because the users will never have to go change the semantic model because they were just using a view. Now the view is pointing to the new table. So that's your second low approach. Now if we want to go into full medallion, what we would do is all the transformation we had done in the data flows, we are actually gonna take those off. And what that requires is, in that case, we're gonna take the data from the source system, load it into the raw lakehouse without any transformation. And we are gonna create another lakehouse in the middle, which essentially is going to have the transform layer. So we take the data from the raw, either using Dataflow Gen 2, or using views, or using notebook, depending on your skill set. You can get the data to transform and replace the views on the gold layer or the enterprise data warehouse layer coming from that perspective. So why do we do this? So think about this way. Now with Fabric, you have an enterprise data warehouse to serve your data that is scalable. It's already in a warehouse. You can do row level security. You have a SQL endpoint. So your world is not just limited to what you could do in Power BI, but we can do a lot more than that, taking the data into any other tool, as you can see, and it opens up all that stuff. But even just staying within Power BI, now you have a modern data architecture supporting your Power BI initiative that has enterprise architecture built into it. Now with this, you can leverage the full power of Fabric that gives you the secure, sustainable, and scalable model that allows us to share the data better, allowing other users to play with the same data in a more structured manner. Hope you liked it. Let me know what your thoughts, and if you want to read about it, you can find the full article in the comments below.